Good evening and good morning, Godzilla fans around the world. Godzilla 1986 here from Total Kingdom Forums, bringing you a review of this sexy beast right here, MonsterArts Godzilla 1994. I picked this sucker up at my local comic book store. He orders through Diamond Comics. If your local comic book store does that, feel free to ask him to special order this. He bought it for roughly around $60 or some odd dollars, and he was retailing it for about $74. I don't know if you can see that, but because I have a huge ass pull list with him, he gave me 15% off, so it rounded out about to be about $65 with tax. Alright, I'm going to do a box tour first. Every good review does a box tour. Now this is version 2, not 1. The first thing you can do to tell the difference is right here. There is no advert for the beam effect because version 2 does not have a beam effect. And for the record, yes, I am doing this in my bathroom. My girlfriend is asleep and I want to get this done for everyone out there to see. I hope everyone can see and enjoy it. Anyway, this is version 2, no beam effect. I personally don't really care per se. I'm not going to have a big huge diorama of all my figures, you know, beam spamming each other. And I'm pretty sure eventually someday I'll find it sold separately or get the effects pack. Those wanting to purchase version 2 specifically can do that as well, or you can go and hunt for version 1. It may or may not be the same price depending on where you get it from. I know a lot of carriers now probably have version 2 more than one, so if you're going after version 1, specify and make sure which one is which before you buy it if you want version 1. Now, starting with the front of the box, we have this amazing image of 1994 Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla in a nice red. It's kind of an odd color to put on it considering he's not red. And all the other monsters are displayed correctly, but it doesn't matter because it's badass, so who cares. We have your logos, Tamasi Nations and Bandai. These are good companies and good people. Please support them. Katakana here, you have, I'm doing this in freaking reverse. I have Godzilla right here. You have your warnings and the sticker right here, which I made a post about just now on Total Kingdom forums about this. Somebody was asking the difference between the versions. First off is the beam effect and this. This is 2012. I believe all version 1s have 2011. So that's another way to make sure you know which is which if you're curious about buying it. Alright, so, and right here we have MonsterArts and a description of the company motto, I guess, or the figure line model, the motto, and it is amazing. It lives up to its words. And also we have a nice view of the figure. These boxes are amazing. I'm sure everybody who has read about these can tell you that the boxes they come in are large. They are amazing with detailed artwork. And they're definitely worth keeping. Some people throw them out. Some people keep their boxes. Most people I've seen and read, goodness, excuse me, keep these boxes because of the amazing artwork. Now, on the, to me, it's the right side. You have a front of the figure, and I don't know if you can see. I will do better close-ups later. Of the front of the figure, and we all have heard about the derpy eyes. As far as I'm concerned, this figure does not have derpy eyes. I believe it was a painting issue with many of the version 1s that gave that problem. As far as my figure goes, it does not have that problem, so I am pleased. I probably wouldn't have cared otherwise, but regardless, there is no derpiness here. And you have it embossed. You can, if you run your finger across it, you can feel the lines and the lettering. Godzilla. This is so badass, you have no idea. And MonsterArts adorning top. On the left side, MonsterArts here. A nice rear pose of the figure. And right here, this webcam video will not do this justice. People who own this can attest to the fact that the embossment of Godzilla and the katakana for Gojira it looks absolutely amazing under light because it's like glittery and freckly and it's all red and badass and amazing. On the top is a see-through at the top of the figure that says Godzilla on it. Not too sure if people can really see that. It's Godzilla, and you have Godzilla with a picture on the right side. My apologies for the funky camera. I have never done this before, and I'm doing it all basically in reverse. And on the bottom is MonsterArts right here. You have your warning labels, your IPC code, a couple other things in Japanese over here. Got your warning label right there. Don't choke parts you can choke on. And there are actually the previous video that I did of this earlier. Part of the tail popped out. I will address that in a bit. No worries though. I wouldn't freak out about it. In the back here, I have, in my limited understanding of Godzilla katakanas, is a detailed history of the character. So it's Godzilla right there. 54 is up top. A couple movies are listed all the way to the bottom. Final Wars is down here. Biollante is like up here. I believe these are profiles of the character of Godzilla. Another profile, I think, of the company. I'm not sure. And of course, pictures to advertise the figure that you have just spent a little over $100 on. We have him swimming. We have him posing, roaring, profile view. And I've seen this picture as a ad from the movie a few times, so I guess they're trying to recreate that, which they did a moderately good job. Alright, here comes the best part. We're at the where's the time? There it is, 6-minute mark. So let's pop this sucker open and give it a go. Throw that box down there. I've already opened this already, so we don't have to deal with the whole cutting and situation with that. When you pop it open, you immediately get hit with a vinyl smell, and that's like boss right there. And here he is. Don't mind my noise. Alright, this is going to be a lot better than my other video because you can actually see crap. You can actually see the detail. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this sucker. You can actually see his eyes. I'm going to get a good close-up on his eyes. I know you can kind of barely... There we go. That's what I wanted to show off. That. Now, to me, that doesn't look derpy. I'm sure he's looking a little bit to his upper right, left, whatever. But I think that might just be the camera when you're staring at him head on, I guess like that. I'm trying to get this right here because I know people will be like, oh, he looks derpy. Like, no, it's the way I'm holding it. You can kind of see he looks fine to me. I hope he looks fine to anyone else. Anybody else who has version 1 can either confirm or deny that. Anyway, let's start to the review of the figure. Now, first off, for those who are on the fence on buying this line, I would say if you can find a way to hold it, like go to a comic book store or if there's a convention that has them, hold it, hold the box. If there's a loose figure, hold the figure, feel it for yourself, and go from there. If you have the money and are not afraid to jump into a current line, I'd say, do it. Definitely. Because you get what you pay for, and you get a lot for what you paid for. As you can already see, if you haven't looked at pictures or looked on the billions of other review videos that are out there, the amount of detail on the figure itself is amazing. If you're an artist like me that has studied Godzilla, specifically this design, the Heisei design, for as many years as I have for drawing, you will know that not every part of his body is scaled using skin texture the same. His chest and his neck have those bumps on them, plus the indents. You can see the indents here and the indents on the neck. And his arms and his legs have the tree trunk, as I believe Bob Eggleton put it, style of skin texture. And that continues all across his tail. So it's very well done. On the face, you can see the cheekbones and the nose. Mouth opens. See, there's up to 2 rows of teeth, front and back, I believe. You can see up there. Definitely on the bottom jaw. The gums and the tongue is painted very nicely. The eyes, his mouth looks great. His eyes have that black iris in the center with the yellow and red with the white eyeball. This is definitely an accurate representation of the 1994 suit, if you ask me. His spines are, each spine is articulated. It's not like some figures, I guess, where like they articulate only one side, the main side that one would see looking at it, and they leave the other side like totally smooth or blank or whatever. Each fin is detailed on each side with these bumpy ridges, and it's colored from a blackish gray going into a lighter gray to a white. Definitely, if you study Godzilla biology at all and the skeletal structure, you will know that they're more like bones than they are, you know, something like cartilage or whatever sticking out of his flesh. And the paint job on this definitely emulates that, or at least on the center 3. His paint job continues all the way down from the top of the neck to the tip of the tail. The spine, the little spine indents on the top of the head, however, are not colored. I personally don't have a beef with that. I don't really care because I've never really seen them as off-colored like that in the films anyway. The tails, the claws on both the foot and the arms have that same, you know, dark to light bone color, as you can see. And in terms of articulation, I know everybody likes to hear about articulation. I personally have not had the chance to really fuddle with this because I'm afraid of popping a joint out, especially on camera. I am totally doing this on the fly. And I've already had a tail piece pop out. Now, let me explain that because I mentioned that. If you try, and I guess it's the way any figure would, any articulated figure would, if you try and pull a joint out too far past where it's supposed to go, it'll pop out on you. Now, it took me a matter of a couple seconds to put it back in, and it's perfectly fine. I can wiggle the tail, and there's no problem. So don't let that deter you. Just beware that this is not your typical Bandai figure that, you know, you used to buy or can still buy for around about $20 depending on what you get, and it only has maybe 5 to 6 points of articulation, and you can throw it about and smash it against the wall, and you know, it'll be fine and dandy. I believe this sucker will not hold up too well to such abuse. However, we should not give it such abuse because it is so beautiful. Anyway, there is articulation in the arms, the bicep turns, the joint here at the elbow turns, and at the wrist. I believe it turns also. There's a pivot area here. Yes, there is at the shoulder. There's a pivot area here at the waist. It's very tight on me, so I don't want to really muck with it too much. And the joint is right here at the back of the spines. So I guess if you turn it too far, it'll hit this middle spine right here. So that's one thing to take note of. There's articulation joints here at the hip, here at the knee, and here at the ankle where you can turn the foot. Both, and of course the tail, up to I believe 15 to 18 points of articulation. I'm not too sure, I haven't counted them all yet, and I personally don't really want to right now. I believe articulation kind of stops from just looking at it right here. I don't believe the tip bends. Actually, it does not bend. It just stops right at this joint right here. That's perfectly fine and dandy if you ask me. I don't really care, as long as it can kind of go wherever. The jaw of course is articulated, as you can see. Put your beam effect in there, or make your own, or if you're into making stop motion movies, you can rotoscope beams out of there. That's perfectly fine. On the base of the foot, you have your copyrights Toho, made in China. I believe somebody on the forums asked how many circles are on the foot. I personally don't see any circles. I don't know what relevance that really has personally. All in all, since this video is reaching about 15 minutes or so, and I'm sure y'all are bored. All in all, I believe this figure is a buy. I would rate it an 8 out of 10 on my personal scale for 2 reasons. One, it does not have the beam effect. I know I said I didn't care, but in terms of being a completist, in terms of if you wanted to display it a certain way, going after version 1 is totally up to you. And second of all, for the 8 out of 10 is its posability. I'm fairly certain it is extremely posable. I'm just not doing it right. And actually, I'm really afraid of popping joints out and whatever, especially on camera. I will fuddle with this more later. but I can tell you right now that it is extremely posable, and with some work, and since it's a new figure as well, it's still tight. So working with it will loosen the joints up, and you can pretty much put it in whatever pose you want to. I heard somebody put it in his dancing pose from like an Invasion of Astro Monster, but I don't want to really attempt that at the moment. But regardless, oh, I forgot to mention a few points in articulation right here at the neck. I've seen a video where this pops out, so don't pull that out too much. And the head right here, so you can kind of do the infamous head. Well, that was interesting. It's like Godzilla, dude. Look at that. Pop the head off, and there's like a thing underneath that shoots a laser beam. Anyway, see, it pops right back on. Look at that. Pops right back on, and it's perfectly fine. It's just proof that the fact that this is not your typical Bandai figure. This is something more, if the price didn't already give it away, this is something more detailed, more articulate, and definitely more fragile than, you know, any random figure that you would get. You definitely want to have a little bit more care in it. And you can pose it any way you really want to, but you have to be careful that it doesn't go past the joint limits. Anybody who knows anything about toys will know that if you pull a specific joint past where it's supposed to go, it will pop off. So that's no different in this case. This is not like the 12-inch one that they just announced, so I guess you can put it in any position because it's molded in rubber and it won't really matter. This has articulate balls and joints, so you can't go past its limitations. Anyway, this lovely figure, I would say definitely buy it. Buy others in its line. And here Space Godzilla is the best so far. I'm definitely going to make that my next purchase. To those who want to really jump on this line, I say go, like I said earlier, go for it. Hold the figure if you can. If you can't, go for this one at the very least, the 94 Godzilla, because it is the most basic figure you can get at the most basic price that details the amount of articulation and detail in the figures, because I know little Godzilla is like $40, but you will not get a prominent display of what the line is about in that figure, because it comes up to about this high and it has very little joints. Its detail is amazing, but it won't showcase what this line is capable of. So I'd say at the very least spend the money on the 94 Godzilla and decide from there if you want to continue the line. I personally, again, if you want version 1, go for version 1 if you want to display it a certain way or you're completist. If not, go for version 2. Version 2 is more readily available and apparently more cheaper depending on where you go. And for those concerned with the derpy eyes, you tell me, my friends. You tell me if this is problematic or not, because version 2 looks fine and dandy to me. I'm going to post this link on Toho Kingdom forums. I will do more figure reviews as I get them in. I have a ton of figures. I'll probably just do a ton of videos, and you guys can just look at them or whatever. And I'll post some screenshots of the eyes a bit more clearer, so everyone can take a more better look at it and decide for themselves. Anyways, this is Godzilla 1986 with a review of SH MonsterArts Godzilla 1994, saying goodbye.